From fighting injuries to winning batting titles to being the face of the Atlanta Braves for over a decade, Chipper Jones's exploits as arguably one of the best switch hitters in the major league isn't talked about enough. But today, let's take a look at how this Hall of Famer batted his way into baseball's history books. Early life. Larry Wayne Jones Jr. was born in DeLand, Florida on April 24th, 1972 to math teacher Larry Jones and his wife, Lynn. Jones bore such an unmistakable resemblance with his dad that a close relative described him as a chip off the old block. Since then, Chipper has been the name he's gone by. Even before Jones was born, it looked like Larry and Lynn's son was destined to be a sports star. Larry Sr. had played baseball at Stetson University before becoming a math teacher and baseball coach at Taylor High School. Jones and his family lived on a 10-acre farm near Pearson, a small town known as the fern capital of the world. Jones grew up seeing his mother's trophy collection and picking up her competitive attitude from seeing her ride horses. His mother referred to this attitude as necessary arrogance. But his dad was really the driving force behind Jones being a young baseball prodigy. His father loved Mickey Mantle so much and did everything he could to make his son as great as Mantle. Practice both at home and in school with his dad, there was no way his peers could keep up. Even his dad was having a hard time doing so. By 11 years of age, Chipper's father could no longer beat him. When he was 12 years old, he starred in a local game against the formidable Altamore Springs. He shocked everyone when he hit 3 home runs in that game, even though his team lost. When he was in 8th grade, his talent propelled him to the varsity at Taylor High School. His dad resigned as a coach of the team to avoid any rumors of bias. After winning the Florida State Player of the Year and recording a batting average of .488 as a switch hitter in his high school senior year, he was on every scout's radar. With the Atlanta Braves having the first pick of the 1990 amateur draft, they knew who their star man was. Jones had previously accepted a scholarship to play college baseball in Miami, but completely changed his mind. He instead signed a deal with the Braves that came with a whopping bonus $275,000. He would spend the next 3 years in the minors before joining the big boys. Conquering the MLB, Chipper Jones made his major league debut on September 11th, 1993. But given how dire things were with the Braves, he saw only minimal playing time. But things even became worse for him. He went from barely getting into the roster to getting sidelined entirely in the space of months. Then, during an exhibition game on March 18 against the Yankees, ahead of the 1994 season, disaster struck. In an attempt to avoid getting tagged, Jones's knee made a popping noise that was later found to be a ligament tear. However, he didn't miss too much because of the players' strike of 1994 that made the season end early. But in the 1995 season, Jones had a lot in store for us. Not only would he don the number 10 jersey we know him for, Jones also began his notorious tormenting of the New York Mets that season. When Jones broke the deadlock between the Braves and the Mets, he sparked not only a feud with the franchise, but a rather unprecedented playing form. In the next 7 games, he had 4 more homers, and it was then that he knew that this was where he belonged. Jones had a great season with a batting average of .265, 23 home runs, and 861 RBI. This was enough for the Braves to finish top of the National League East Division, but not enough for him to win Rookie of the Year as he finished second in the voting. Hideo Nomo won the title at his expense, but Nomo could keep the title because Jones had his eyes on something bigger. He had his eyes on the championship, something that would be out of Nomo's reach. In Game 1 of the division series against the Colorado Rockies, Jones was locked in, keeping the Braves afloat and leaving it late in the game to win the series opener for the Braves, a series they would win along with the National League Champion Series to advance to the World Series. It was a postseason run that had Braves fans chewing their fingernails, their players sweating, but not Jones. As he had said, "I've been through a lot of pressure games in my life. Some guys live for crunch time. I'm one of them." This mentality would pay off as the Braves would beat the Cleveland Indians to claim the 1995 World Series title. This was the Braves' first title since 1957. The 1996 season was starting to look a lot better with an all-round rise in his numbers. Jones batted .309 with 30 home runs. He had a slugging percentage of .530 and the .110 RBI RBI was the start of his 8 years with over 100 RBIs. With such numbers, we shouldn't be surprised that the Braves went to the World Series yet again. But the Yankees would deny them 2 back-to-back titles in a shocker of a series. Nevertheless, it was in 1996 that Jones made his first All-Star appearance and an All-Star team that featured 5 of his teammates. Jones finished 4th in the MVP race, but it was only a matter of time before he won that as well. The Braves later employed Don Baylor as the new hitting coach. He noticed how teams were using Jones's weakness of a poor right-hand swing against him. But Don Baylor pushed Jones to bat right more often till he was flawless. After Baylor's training, Jones's numbers went over the roof. The 1999 season can be regarded as the switch hitter's best season. Jones had a batting average of .319, 116 runs, and 110 RBIs. He also had a career-high 45 home runs, 126 walks, and 25 stolen bases. No wonder he got over 90% of the first-place votes for MVP. The Braves got the better of the Mets in the National League Champion Series, but couldn't do so with the Yankees, who swept them in the World Series. This would be their 5th appearance in the World Series, which was a lot for a team that had gone home with the series only once in those 5 appearances. This didn't stop the Braves from signing Jones to a 6-year contract worth $90 million. Nevertheless, by the time of the millennia, Jones was turning more into a vintage but well-seasoned veteran. His numbers would suggest that he was past his prime, but he was far from finished. Or was he? The end? A strain on his right hamstring in 2004 would not only sideline him for weeks, but he recorded his worst batting average in his career that season with .248. In 2005, a ligament tear saw him miss over 50 games. In 2006, there was little an injury-plagued Jones could do as he witnessed the Braves miss the postseason. Surely Jones was done for, but not so fast. In 2008, he was off to a remarkable start, maintaining a batting average of over 400 for more than 2 months. Sadly, the then 36-year-old couldn't keep his batting average that high as he finished the season with .364. But this number was good enough to win him the National League batting title. Jones would experience deja vu in 2010 as a charge on a ground ball would cause him to tear the same ACL that he injured back in 1994. But by opening day in 2011, he was back on the plate again. He also recorded a major milestone that year when he registered 1,510 RBIs, passing his idol, Mickey Mantle, on the RBI all-time list. In 2012, he announced his retirement, going out as one of the best switch hitters alongside his idol, Mickey Mantle. Jones finished his career with 1,623 RBIs, 468 home runs, a batting average of .303, and a slugging percentage of .529. Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray are the only switch hitters to have more home runs than Jones, but he has a higher batting average than both Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray. In 2018, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. No questions asked. Jones, despite his injury woes, can say he had the type of career many can only dream of. But how exactly was he able to do it? His secret? Well, for starters, he always had the right people around him to guide and instruct him. Let's not forget that his dad taught him the game from a tender age and made him idolize Mickey Mantle. Additionally, Willie Stargell and Frank Howard made Jones step up his game when he was still in the minor leagues. Stargell, for one, had advised Jones that he started using a bat that was bigger than what he was used to. He'd be hitting 30 home runs as soon as his body would take it, and it worked. And then there was Don Baylor, who turned his weakness into a strength and made him into an MVP. We really couldn't have expected anything less from a player who had all that guidance. But even with all the help he had, Jones couldn't have still been an average player. There was nothing average about his mindset. It almost seemed as if he thrived best under pressure. His MVP season, in which he won the World Series, came right after he had sat out a whole season with an ACL tear. And when did his batting title come? Off the back of a 3-year stretch of injuries and shaky numbers. He said it himself, he's built for crunch time. Even when he tore his ACL again, he refused to take the cowardly route to retirement. But most importantly, the sport he loved, so passionate about, rewarded his devotion with a team that believed in him. If you enjoyed this video about the unmatched brilliance of Chipper Jones, check out the video on the screen now or the one we posted below, because we're sure you'll like that one too. Let us know in the comments if there's another baseball player whose journey you'd like us to cover. See you there.